Hello, and welcome to another newsletter from Construction Programs and Results. I'm Michael Stone, and I will be sharing our newsletter with you. We have another workshop coming up tomorrow, February 8th at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, on how to deal with insurance work, also known as casualty loss work. I did a lot of these jobs when I was younger, and we had the methods and procedures of working with insurance companies down fairly well. But things change, so if you're selling this work, be sure and set in on this workshop to be sure you're up to date with how to make money on these jobs. To do insurance restoration work, or any other work for that matter, you may need employees. And that brings us to our newsletter, Finding Suitable Employees. If I had a nickel every time I've heard it's difficult to find employees, I'd buy an island in the South Pacific. I don't expect the construction labor pool to increase significantly anytime soon, so we need to figure out how to adapt to this shortage. When you're looking for employees, make it clear that all applicants will be considered for the job. There is still a prejudice against women in construction, although it's much better now than it was 40 or even 50 years ago. I can't remember a single woman who was doing framing or roofing or electrical or plumbing work in those days. Now it's common to see women working on job sites, both residential and commercial. Our coaching clients tell me that when they hire women to help build a job, productivity improves. They're also very successful in sales. You might also consider hiring veterans. Almost all are old enough to have all of the youthful nonsense out of their systems and are ready to step in and help you build your business. It's important to make sure your new hire is compatible with your business in both personality and skills. Hiring the wrong person costs money. It costs more than just the time and expense you went through before hiring, because you'll spend time and money to fire them legally and properly. There's lost productivity when you hire someone who can't do the job. The wrong person on the job can cost you goodwill with a client, and if the problem is bad enough, they'll cost you your reputation as well. If they're in a management position, you might lose employees you'd like to keep, especially if you don't catch and fix the problem quickly enough. If they're in sales, you don't want to think about the leads that were wasted, or worse, misdirected if they were dishonest. How do you figure out what job applicants will be right for your company? Let's start with background checks. There are limits to what can be checked, and it varies by state, but you should at least consider drug testing, as well as talking to past employers and investigating their driving records if they will be driving to and from job sites, especially if using company vehicles. I still get upset at myself when I think of some of the people I hired in our construction company. My biggest disappointments were when I found out someone was being dishonest. If your state permits a criminal background check, that would be a good idea. I don't believe that a criminal conviction should automatically prevent someone from being hired, but it depends on the situation and their history. It's better to know than not know. If they will be working in homes, it's important that you check the sex offender registry, which is public record. Under federal law, you can conduct a credit check if you have their written consent, but if you decide not to hire because of the info on the credit report, you're required to let them know the source of that information. I have mixed feelings about making hiring decisions based on credit checks. Many honest people have fallen on hard times, and that shouldn't be a mark against them. You'll also want outside testing. I believe it's a good idea to have applicants tested by an outside third party. These tests cover many areas of their personality, like work ethic, honesty, character, etc. Are they a leader or a follower? Can they get along with others? Are they organized? Do they want to work alone, or do they prefer the team concept? Do they follow directions? A better question is, can they follow directions? This won't tell you if they can do the work, but it can give you a good insight into them as a person. The most important might be the ability to work with others, both on job site and in your office. You'll want to know if they'll be able to get along with their fellow employees and your clients. Contractor Staffing Source can handle many of these tasks. They are a recruiting company who will help you find employees as well as provide testing background checks. There is a link to Contractor Staffing Source in the notes below. Test their skills as well. When you're hiring office staff, you need to know if they have the skills necessary to perform the task you want them to do. You can find an outside firm that does this or develop a few exercises that you can ask them to run through during the interview. You want to know they can actually perform, not just talk about it. On the job site, I'm not aware of any company that tests construction-related skills, and that's important. Can they read blueprints? Do they know the tools and equipment of your trade? What kind of tools and equipment will they bring to the job? Our Human Resource Manual, developed by Tim Fowler, helps you answer these questions by providing placement tests for 5 production employee classifications. Entry-level laborer, carpenter 1, carpenter 2, lead carpenter, and production manager. It provides much more like job descriptions, interview questions, training modules to help employees advance, and detailed job performance evaluation. Before you look, I'll warn you, it's not cheap, but it's valuable. You can download and read the introduction before purchase. We have a link to this manual in the notes below. If you know of an outside firm that performs these tests, please let us know. For existing employees, consider an employee evaluation system. A link to that is also in the notes below. The more you know, the fewer mistakes you'll make. And when it comes to employees, mistakes are expensive. So, do your research before you hire. Thanks again for watching, and may the profits be with you.